Welcome to Masters of Product Management, a show that gives you real-world techniques and cutting-edge strategies to learn, apply, and succeed in product management. Now, here's the master himself, Stephen Haines.
Welcome back, everyone. I've been traveling a lot lately, and I figured that we have enough technology that I can actually do a recording from the road. And so I wanted to share some thoughts with you today. I was thinking about growth and competition, just things like that. And I've been working with a lot of companies lately, and it just seems to me that the version of competition that they have and the version of competition that I see are a couple of different things. And one of the things that has become very apparent to me, I don't know, I'm sure you've noticed it as well, that a lot of large companies have become a lot larger. And it's because they've merged their way to size. And I think you know how it works, whether it's an airline or a bank or your cable company or even your department store. But in the end, I think that they just keep doing the same things, the same kind of things they've been doing for years. So is there an opportunity here? So what I was thinking about talking with you today about is the topic of doing something completely different. Now here, I understand what happens in the corporate world. Your bosses are always wanting you to do something different. They always want you to be innovative, and they want you to do disruptive things, and they want you to invent things that nobody ever did before. And you still have to do it while you're doing your job. And that makes it really hard, I think. But if we could just set back for a second, and that if we had the wherewithal and the mind space to do something a little different, what would it be? So let's talk about your current products and your product lines. If you were to examine where you invested your money and what you got in return, you'd say, hey, I feel pretty good. I got some top line growth. I got a couple of points on that. And maybe we shaved a bit of expense off and made a better bottom line. So I guess everybody got happy. So you made your products cheaper and you got to stay in the game. But your competitors keep doing the same thing, and then you keep doing the same thing. And I think that there is a cycle that we could break. Now, who are the people who have actually broken the cycle? Well, those are the great innovators, the Einsteins and the Teslas and Jobs. I mean, everybody talks about them. And it's like when I go to these conferences and we have these notable speakers and they talk about these guys, and I say to myself, I get it, but what can we do? How do we get ahead of the competition in companies where you work, where your bosses are so risk averse and we're resource starved? What's the real appetite for growth? Then I think about what some of the newer innovators are doing and what they're doing, and it almost looks to me like they're solving the age-old problems that are associated with things like transportation, whether it's a taxi service or an Uber or something like that, or communication, how we dine, how we date, and other things that people just try to do on a day-to-day basis. And so what I see is equivalent levels of functionality, but different ways of delivering the goods. And those are the people who are doing it in these small companies, not in the big companies. And I think that there's a difference here, because I think they're doing better because they're smaller and nimbler. Well, maybe there's no secret there, because ultimately they get bigger and they suffer from the same problems as things that happen in larger companies. So what's the question? What can we do to be a better competitor? Can we do something akin to what a small company does inside of a larger company? And I say, I believe we can. And if we're in a small company, how do we stay competitive and relevant before the bigs figure out how to crush us? So going back to the taxi thing, I was reading in the newspaper the other day about Uber, the ultimate taxi disruptor, has now turned the taxi and limo industry on its ears. So in New York City, I think they have these taxi hailing apps and other approaches that I guess they're just trying to capture the same passengers, but I think it's still a copy job. And it's interesting, I ADD for a second. Think about sports. You watch sports. every team in every league studies the strategies of every team. They watch the films, the videos, whatever. And so the game here, it's not a pun, is to figure out what the next step might be.
You're listening to Masters of Product Management with Stephen Haines from Sequent Learning Networks, sequentlearning.com.
So I think the same thing is true in sports. Now, if you watch sports, you know that every team in every league studies the strategies of every other team. The game here, there's no pun intended, is to figure out what the next move might be. So in other words, so when a coach or a quarterback or somebody in the team sees a formation, they set up their teams around what they believe they need to do to respond better than any other team has done. And that is, so everybody's doing the same thing. What would happen if we could just come up with something else, some other way of doing this? Now, I'm now thinking a little bit differently and about some linkage. So there's going to be a bridge that we can cross. The bridge is from the day-to-day blocking and tackling that we consider as being competitive to the competitive edge our bosses are asking for. And the thing that I can relate back to is my own experience about when I started my company. Because what I did is I had an undying passion for doing something that wasn't being done before. Now, as a backdrop, what I believed I did was I was starting a training company, but in fact, it dawned on me within 6 months of me starting that what I really started up was a business to help other companies transform themselves, and in a targeted and focused area. And the thing that I believe set me apart and continues to set me apart is the fact that I have a vision, I have a strategy, and I have pure, unadulterated passion. And it is embedded in a true belief that I can make a difference. So if you consider things like passion and creative zeal, think of the Bezos and the Musks of the world. These are the innovative disruptors today. And I think, and I believe, that that is the key to the game-changing products that will blow the doors off your competitors. So, these are my thoughts for today. And I hope you've had a chance to just sit back and consider for a minute some of the things that you might do for the next big thing. And I hope that you'll tune in again. See you next time.
This has been Masters of Product Management with Stephen Haines, but it doesn't end there. Just visit sequentbusiness.net to gain access to all of our shows and subscribe. That way you'll never miss an episode. It's all there at sequentbusiness.net. We'll talk to you next time on Masters of Product Management. Learn, apply, and succeed. sequentlearning.com